2 years ago, I bought my first camera, the Canon EOS R50. And ever since then, my life has completely changed. I also want to learn about why I decided to buy a camera, um, things and actions that helped accelerate my learnings with the camera, and finally, my thoughts on if you also want to buy a camera. Stick around for the rest of this video. And another spoiler, don't do it just for the money. So let's get into it. So if you're new here, my name is Abubakar. I'm an engineer turned filmmaker who found his passion through filmmaking and documentaries. So first off, why did I decide to buy a camera? And this just comes in very obviously. I've always wanted to have a creative outlet for my endeavors. Even from a young age, I remember I used to have a journal. And in that journal, I used to have short stories that I used to write on them, as well as inventions that could potentially change the world. One of those inventions was actually a drum that had a ball bouncing on it, and then every time it recycled it, it would basically generate energy. And I was like, oh my gosh, I just figured out free energy source for life for everyone. But that was before I learned about perpetual motion machines. But yeah, these are the things that I grew up on and wanted to express myself creatively. And as I got older, I've tried many different things. I've tried many different sports, track, soccer, rugby, any that you can think of, and I actually did pretty well. I was actually top 3 in my state for track and field, but it wasn't as creative as I wanted to be. So I got into VR. I was also an engineer, by the way, so this is very rigid, structural. So I needed a passion as well that could help, make me a more well-rounded person. So I tried VR as well with pandemic eras, because it was the fad at that time, and that helped me get into photogrammetry, 3D modeling, and then I even bought a drone. But then I realized with the drone, it was very hard to fly to the locations that you want, because more than likely it's restricted, like restricted airspace, or if it's at the beach or things like that. Those were very hard to get your drone out and fly around. And then I myself also didn't feel comfortable sometimes flying around people, or flying around different areas unless it's very secluded. And that was also a very big basically a blocker for me. So you know what, I decided that these short stories that I am keep developing, let me share with some of my friends. And I actually told a few of them. And for me, I watch maybe too much movies because I'm able to predict a lot of the endings of a movie. I'm like, oh, it's gonna be his brother that's gonna betray him, or it's gonna be the friend that was supposed to be a friend but it's actually an enemy, or the enemy turns into the friend. I'm like, there's 7 archetypes of a story that I learned in middle school, and then that's where I was able to realize, every single story has the exact same structure, and if you study them enough, that you'll be able to know exactly which type it follows and how the story ends. And so I was like, you know what, let me do these ones that are a bit more adventurous, that you're not able to predict. So that's why I like movies like Inception and things like that. Those movies I really loved because you're not really sure exactly how the ending is going to be. So I told them one of my own stories that had that type of ending, and they really liked it because you're not able to, anticipate how the story is going to end. And when they liked it so much, they're like, oh, I could definitely see this, on a screen, or I can envision it on a screen. And so that's when I was like, you know what, yeah, let me think about getting a camera and actually bringing these stories to life through short stories or short films. And that's what I did. I decided, you know what, let me just use the resource that I currently have, which is just my phone. And I got a few friends, and then we were recording with it. They helped me. By the way, tip for if you want your friends and you have no budget, just get them donuts. And that's how you're able to, encourage them to join your project. So that's what I did. I got them donuts. And then we were able to make that short film, but only the first half of it. And then I had to move again across the country. And then I was like, you know what, how can I continue this? Let me actually take this more seriously. So I literally took an entire 6-month gap between when I first shot the first half of it and towards when I finally decided in April 2024 to actually get that. And then when I finally got it, I was like, you know what, what's the best cameras? went through a bunch of YouTube videos to decide exactly what is the best cameras. And then the two for beginners especially is going to be the Canon EOS R50, which I currently have, or the Sony ZV-E10. And I compared the both, which one is more friendly, and then even between those two, the Canon was more friendly. The picture quality, you didn't have to do a lot of after post-production, so that's what I decided to do. And yeah, so then I got it, and then I decided to finish making that short film. And within that first year, it was just a lot of learning. I was just doing whatever. I had two short films I was able to finish within the first year, and basically, it was able to help me learn exactly what a camera is, lighting, um, sound quality is very important as well. And I was also using it with a local nonprofit. I was helping create videos for them. So how to churn out videos, how to edit, I didn't even do color grading at all. Every single thing. And this is one of the tips that I want to tell you. Try to learn as much as possible within the first year. Don't shoot. I mean, it does help you get into the flow of things. But for me, I was literally just putting on auto for everything. Auto, what you call it, color grade, auto the camera settings as well. Like I just wanted to just get into the habit of it, because there's once you get into it, even the camera itself, there's like a 3 hour video that told me everything about the camera, and I didn't even finish that whole video, because the best way that you're going to learn exactly which parts of the settings in the camera do what part is if you actually go out and shoot. Because if you just play around with the settings, you're not really understanding exactly how it's going to affect it. So right now, I'm using HD PQR mode. I'm going to be color grading this footage after my its manual exposure. All of these things I was not doing for the first year. So then my second year came, I moved again, and then I was able to find people that actually were doing the same things that I was doing. So previously it was just friends that were, you know, kind enough to help me with these projects, be actors, and sometimes I was even an actor myself. But then when my second year, and this is when my learning accelerated much faster, I got friends that were actually like professionals, like they were literally doing this full time as their careers. I wasn't doing it; I was just doing it as a part time. My main career was being an engineer, and being under their tutelage, learning from them, learning how much gear that they have. I thought I had a lot of gears, like with my backpack full of gears, but then they had like 2 suitcases full of gears, all the lighting gears, the C stand, all of that. When I seen that, I was like, okay, there's different levels of this, right? And then for them as well, they don't even feel like they've reached that level, because there's always more things to learn, more gears, more things like that. But then their quality is what I wanted to achieve, and I wanted to, I aspired to. And so I learned from them. I sat down and color graded with them. They taught me how to color grade, like, and more importantly, even beyond the technicalities of it, because those things actually, they're just basic math, especially with color grading and all that. But the most important thing is like editing with a story in mind, and how to do that, how to um, sort your footage, make it easier for you to put it all on the timeline. Those smaller little things, like for example, when you're on the set and then you're doing the lighting, getting it from the different angles, getting a bunch of B-rolls, those things I was not doing, right? I was just shooting and moving along. And so these are the small intricacies that they taught me, and I was, will be forever grateful for it. And more importantly, this is where some of the money comes from it. They also gave me directions into like film grants that you can apply to, and those are the things that I applied to, and I was able to actually make money off of those film grants as well, for like pitches that you do for like documentaries and things like that, and that they like the pitch, they'll accept it, and then you get funded for that. So that's one thing that I was completely unaware of until they told me. So being surrounded by the right people, by the right spaces, can totally change your life. And so that's what they did for me, and that's what I was able to learn from them. But also, I also had to learn how to, I wanted to make this as a side hustle, maybe potentially grow it into a business. And so I was, created a website, just posted some of my videos on YouTube, um, on Instagram, and then the people that I was connecting with, especially with this a long 1 year documentary project that I was working on, they were also able to connect me with people that wanted videography services, and that's how I was able to get a few clients as well. And I was, building up my report of customers, and that's basically how it is. It's just word of mouth. Majority of the clients that I've picked up, especially at the beginning, and that's how most businesses grow. And so after getting laid off from my engineering career, I was actually had an opportunity to now take this full time, and that's what I've been doing for the past couple of months. I can make a second video about my layoff journey as well. If you're interested, let me know in the comments. But yeah, this I'm thinking is the best opportunity for me to double down on actually trying to turn my passion, which is filmmaking, into a full-time thing. And thankfully it's been going well so far. But this is me just sharing my journey with you guys so far, and like letting you know how my progress is, and hopefully it even gets better in the future. One thing I wanted to mention, especially at the end, if you're interested in buying a camera, right, whether that's for business, whether that's for your own passion, or whatever the case may be, make sure you're doing it just for your own sake, not for let me, how much, oh, he made this much, maybe I can make this much as well. Like, don't treat it as a business straight from the get-go, because I promise you the frustration is going to be way too much for you to be able to handle it when the going goes, it gets tough basically. There's been so many times that I was thinking about, what, why is there so much um, attention being put on this small little detail? Like for me, especially, that's what I used to get frustrated on when I got, when I was getting mentored, especially with the other filmmakers. I'm like it doesn't make sense. You're just doing this 2 minute shot, right? And then you're putting all of this focus into like the setup and everything, and then like, what, quality. And I like, it took me a while to understand, but there's a lot of intricacies that come into it with the setups, with the editing. The editing, oh my gosh, this is actually the hardest part for me, the editing. Like there's one clip, I'm like, it's good enough. Like what I had my mentor like teaching me how to edit while we're on the project as well, right? He was editing with me, and then he told me, redo this, redo this. I'm like, I spent like the whole night on this edit, and you're telling me it's not good enough? But I'm telling you this because there's a lot of opportunities for you to give up. And if you're just doing it just for the sake of money and not just passionately, that you're passionate about it, then it's not maybe the best idea for you to get a camera and try to, pursue this full time or passionately, whatever you want to do with it. And also, one thing that you can tell right away when you first buy it, are you excited by it? That's another way that you can tell. Are you excited by it? When you're learning editing, when you're listening to these gear reviews or new tools or new lenses, whatever they may be, and if you're editing especially, does the time go by fast? Because I noticed that, especially, there was moments you're editing, you're in the flow state, right? And that, like, hours and hours go by, and that's when I realized, what, actually, bro, this is like possibly something that I'm actually interested in, and this can apply to you for camera work or whatever, or just anything else. Like, imagine in your life, what is it, that one thing that you can do for hours and hours? You were created just specifically just for that thing, that you're unbelievably better than other people, or you have the potential to excel beyond others, because this is actually fun for you, while others it's not. Find something that's fun for you. That quote is actually um, kind of true. So think about that, and I hope this video has helped you in some way in making a purchasing decision. And if you want to buy a camera, Canon R50 worked well for me. And if you want to buy another one, that's totally up to your discretion, but just base it off of where you want to go. And also look at the limitations of some of the cameras. Like for the Canon, it's an hour limit. and I can do long shoots with that. There's multiple 3 batteries that I'm using to exchange when I'm doing long shoots. And also there's like other like FX3 that I use also sometimes for my longer short films and documentaries that I'm shooting with. But just look at exactly what your situation is and what you can get by with and actually start learning with. So that's the most important thing. I haven't decided to get a new camera so far because, to be honest, this is actually doing majority of what I want it to be used for. And so until I need a extreme circumstance where I feel like it's not fulfilling all the things that I want for it, I'm definitely going to keep this one for as long as that takes. If you have any questions about like specifically what are some of the accessories that I have along with my camera that's made my life much easier, I can make another separate video for that. And if you have any questions beyond that for another future video, let me know either in the comments and I can make another one for you. And with that, I'll see you in the next one. Take care.